Hey guys, stay tuned. We have a great giveaway coming up. You'll be excited about this one. Kind of an unusual giveaway, so stay tuned. Plus today in this video that I'm excited about, we're going to talk about that strange stuff that happens to your bees and you don't know how to interpret it. A lot of you leave comments and you say, my bees are doing something strange. They're doing this at the entrance. They're playing dead. They're taking strange flights. Is it robbing? Are they getting ready to swarm? Are they too crowded? You don't know all these signs and you don't know how to interpret them. Today we're going to unravel it and make it clear what bees are doing when they do these strange things. Plus, I'm going to give you a great tip on how you can read a swarm. You know, when a swarm lands in a tree, you never know how much time you have to capture it. And I'm going to give you a tip today so you can nail down how much time you have to take action. It's just really cool. You're going to climb up in a tree with me. We're going to zoom in on the swarm and I'm going to show you some tips that you may have never heard before. Let's get started. Knowing how to read bees is a challenge, and be sure and subscribe and give me a thumbs up. Click on the bell to be notified each time I make a new video. It means a lot to me. Help me reach 100,000. Now, talking about what bees do that are kind of strange, these flights that they take, this activity on the front of the hive that they take, it's all very difficult to interpret for a new beginner and even oftentimes for experienced beekeepers. Let's jump right into it. Let me show you some of these things that bees do. Take a look at this. Now this is not an actual hive. These are wet supers that I harvested and I stacked up, but it gives you an idea of the same appearance that you see bees going crazy when they're robbing a hive. Look at that. This is what it looks like. Bees are all around fighting, trying to get in everywhere. Look at this hive. It's actually going back to those wet supers. So this is not swarming or anything like that. It's just bees going to a heavy nectar flow. Some of you have been asking me questions about your bees and what they look like on the entrance. Remember, you can't tell much about what's on the inside by what's on the outside. Not uncommon to see this activity. Bees are scrubbing the deck. A lot of these bees that are here are kind of young bees. And this hive has 2 supers full of honey that I need to take off, so they're a little crowded. I harvested honey off some of these other hives, so they have a little more room, a little more work to do, such as this one and this one. But some of you are seeing what I'm seeing on this one. Look at that. So, you know, you have a clump of bees hanging and blowing in the wind at the bottom, off the bottom board, and then you have bees just gathering up like this. I've had several B Team 6 members send me similar things, some worse, some not so bad, and they're worried that their bees are going to swarm. What's going on? Typically this means it's a good thing, means there's a lot of bees. Look at all those drones coming home. It's about the time the drones are done, so that's all the noise you hear. These big drones are flying home. Wow, look at them. These are all drones. See them landing? It's about 4:30, 5 o'clock. Oh well. So, yeah. So these are just bees that are very prolific, very strong colony, and what they're doing is just giving the inside a little more cooling factor by hanging outside. All these hot bodies out here allow for the inside to be a little bit cooler. A lot of brood in there. Got to be kept 92.5 degrees. So that means that the bees have to come outside to help keep the inside from topping 92, 95 degrees. So don't worry about that. Will they swarm? It's unlikely. It's not impossible. The only way you'll know is by opening the hive and looking for swarm cells. And but this is just pretty typical of a really strong colony. Don't think that this hive is going to make it through the winter with these bees. All of these bees here, they only live 30 to 40 days. Obviously, they're already probably 25, 26 days old. They'll be dead in a month. So don't think, oh, this is a real prolific, strong, overpopulated hive. They're going to make it through winter. No. You have to raise your winter bees in September and October. That's pretty cool. Look how they're just making this nice little edge right here. And they're holding hands here. Oh, I made a hole. It's not that big of a colony, but you can see already in the shade, they're actually bearding and fanning. One of the things I want to show you is right here, these bees are actually standing behind each other, lined up, drafting air, and you can feel hot air coming out of the hive. And you can see here, these bees are just bearding and actually just hanging out on the front of the hive, below the hive, just trying to get the hot bodies outside of the hive to keep it a little bit cooler. So whatever you can do to help that would be good. It looks like a swarm. You see bees going everywhere, flying like crazy in the sky, and you think, oh, they're swarming. Actually, they're not. This is just an everyday play flight. Usually happens for me between 3 and 4 in the afternoon. Then you can see all the bees just flying around and enjoying themselves just from this one hive, this whole commotion, you know. Just having fun. They'll all go back in. You know it's not a swarm because it's more facing the hive than going away from the hive. So you can see they're angled like this, and that means they're just taking play flights. So this is a swarm. But look at them coming out. If you didn't film it, you wouldn't believe it. So many bees in the air. I'm up in top of an apple tree about 10 feet off the ground looking at a swarm that has landed here yesterday. Wanted to point out some cool things about a swarm for you if you don't know. This swarm is about 20,000 bees, and it is interesting to watch. Right now this swarm is actually doing a lot of waggle dancing, and I want to point that out for you. Is how this works is the bees that are out scouting for a new location are actually coming back and trying to persuade the colony to go a certain direction with that waggle dance. I'll point some out to you. Here's a good waggle dancer right down in here. You can see she's vibrating or waggling, and she's waggling that direction. Kind of for me, it'd be almost a southeast direction. There's bees watching her. She might even be kind of encouraging them to continue to watch for her directions, which way to fly and go. Now, if you watch, she's not real dedicated to do it waggle a lot, so a lot of bees have lost interest in her location. So these waggle dancers, they have to dance very ferociously to get attention and persuade the colony. Here's a waggle dancer down here, and she's telling everybody to go directly behind the camera. Well, a little bit that way too. And here's one here, trying to find a spot to do her waggle dance. This one is saying go directly behind David. So once they all decide on the way to go, they will swarm away. But right now, they have some that are giving different signals, different directions to go. So there's some that are saying that like this direction is kind of a predominant theme is to go off to my left right here. So let's see if we see any different ones showing a different direction. Let's see, I saw some that were going south, but they're not real strong. They're not really dedicated to that waggle dance. When they get dedicated, they really waggle. There's a waggle dancer here, and you'll see, let's see which direction she wants them to go. She's trying to find a spot to walk and do the dance. Here's one right here, wanting them to go kind of toward the opposite direction, flying off toward to my west. Here's some up here. There's one there that was pointing to look like the southwest. But again, no real strong waggle dancers that you would just say, wow, look how crazy this waggle dance is. They're kind of puny on their waggle dancing. I'm also looking for the queen. I would love to see the queen, because then I would just pick her up with my fingers, and that way I have captured this swarm. But right now I know I have a little time to keep looking for the queen, because they are not waggling all in the same direction. They're going to eventually decide to go in one direction. All the waggle dancers will be persuaded to dance in that direction, telling them exactly where a hollow tree is, something like that. But as you can see, there's some waggle dancing right here. This is the waggle dancer, and you see the bees kind of getting around her and watching her. But again, she kind of faded out. She's not real strong. But I'm sitting on top of a ladder about 10 feet in the air, having a good day up in the apple tree. It's about 8 o'clock in the morning, so it's a real nice morning, real nice and cool. I'm shaded, and it's just kind of fun doing stuff like this. And I hate to lose this swarm, and if I can capture the queen, I can have the whole colony. Now, I also have time to put a box under here on top of the ladder and shake them down into that box. That's going to be another option I'm going to deploy here in a few minutes if I see they're getting closer to a common place they want to swarm to. But right now, just hoping to capture the queen, because if I capture the queen, I have a little better luck. If I shake them into a box, they can lift out of that box and just immediately decide to go where some of these waggle dancers are telling them. They might not be persuaded to stay. I could use things like a frame of brood from another hive to maybe glue them down. Doesn't always work. But if I can capture that queen and keep her in a cage for 3 or 4 days and get that colony nailed down into a box, I have better luck doing that. So I'm going to sit up here in the apple tree, and once I spot the queen walk by, I'm going to pick her up and take her captive. Okay, the first person to identify properly what these are, and you have to give me at least 2 potential uses for these in beekeeping. And these are from what I have selected. So you have to think of 2 uses that I've selected. You're the first person to guess what they are and give me 2 reasons why you use these in beekeeping. You will be the winner of a 5-frame nucleus. Now let me tell you, one of my 5-frame nucleuses, I understand it might be a little bit late to start as a new hive. Maybe not. You might still be able to pull it off. But you can always use this either as a support nucleus to another hive, like move frames over. It has a laying queen in it that you can always use, or you can simply take this 5-frame nucleus to strengthen a weak colony that's barely hanging on. So you'll find a use for this 5-frame nucleus of bees and this queen, one of my queens. You'll enjoy all of this. So if you plan on winning, playing the game, be sure you're able to drive here, meet me, have a cup of coffee, actually appear on a video with me. We'll make a video together, and you win the 5-frame nucleus. Good luck. Many of you are worried that if your bees are going to get ready for winter in time, you're doing things now to get those bees ready for winter. Let me tell you, you need to really take my class, How to Get Your Bees Ready for Winter. I know it's not even summer hardly yet, but it all starts now in getting those bees ready. You cannot wait until it turns cold or until summer's over to get your bees ready for winter. Got to start working that out now. And if you have the knowledge by taking my class on getting your bees ready for the winter now, then you can put the time and energy into your hive now that it has a better chance of surviving a cold winter. So I'll leave a link in the description below on how you can take my class, How to Get Your Bees Through the Winter. Now, many of you have watched videos last winter and fall and spring. You saw what my colonies did, so you got to understand I know what I'm talking about. I don't mean to sound arrogant, but I am proud of the fact that I've spent years, I've turned 20 years into an overnight success. Now, I do have hives that don't make it through the winter like everybody else, either from my own mistakes sometimes my own negligence. Sometimes there's diseases or pests or something that will always take its toll on certain number of colonies. I don't have a perfect track record, but I have a darn good one. So take that class, it'll help you a lot. Also, if you haven't seen my most recent video about how I took bees and put them into a special kind of a top bar hive with circular frames in it, watch that video right here. That's an interesting video about something different. I made this so it would just be a unique way to show you different hives people use. I'll see you over there.